Welcome to Johnny's Tips and Tricks, and today we're going to do something a little different. In most of my videos, I'm the one doing the work. This time, I actually paid someone to do the work. The reason is that I've seen greens that people have built themselves. I've seen greens that landscapers have built, and I've seen greens that professionals have done. The professional ones are way different. The people that built this, the company is called Tour Greens Chicago. All the material that was purchased for this green, as far as the greens, the foam, the fringe, all that stuff comes from a company called Tour Greens. So Tour Greens Chicago built it, Tour Greens supplied the material. And now you're gonna see the process of how the real guys do it. All right, so the materials for this green is pretty simple. They have grade 8 rock with fines. They just get the fines, I'll explain later. You have foam underneath here, the putting green surface, the fringe, silica sand, I believe that's what they called it, and then a green coarse sand. The cup insert, and then the cups, and then the flags. That's pretty much it. The main thing is that I didn't realize the time and the patience these guys had in forming the rock is where I think a lot of people lack when they build these. All right, so the first thing done is to take out the grass. The green itself, the putting green surface is going to be about 30 by 16. And then the fringe will be about 3 feet all the way around. So the entire footprint is going to be about 36 by 18 or 19. And then in a corner there, we're going to have a chipping pad. And to take out the grass was a sod cutter was used. Basically just ran it around in the shape, and then the sod just pulled it right up.
What are you doing like right now?
But now we're taking gravel and we're building up a base so it's nice and hard.
All right, so the rock's all in. Now they can start the tedious task of leveling everything out.
I was just gonna tell you that today I was with the golf coach for Northwestern University. We went down to University of Illinois to see what their indoor facility looks like. Sweet, they got an indoor sand trap. Look at that. That looks cool. So we're doing the same thing for the coach at Northwestern. That's where I was at today. But so basically what we've got looks pretty awesome to me. This is actually gonna have to come up a little bit more. But this is so good. All right, man, I think we're pretty close. We're gonna get some more gravel up in here so this comes up a little bit. We're gonna have a nice fun slope coming down here, and then we're gonna keep it pretty soft going everywhere else. Well, you've got 6 inches of gravel here, but we're not that high because we dug it out so deep. But we do have to come up just a little bit more, maybe to there.
Okay.
So when it rains, it goes this way. When we're done, everything will kind of look like this. So it's higher here and lower here. It'll be that way throughout the whole green. And then so right in this area, I'm gonna give you a nice slope, a nice little backstop. So when you're hitting balls, it'll kind of run up and then maybe sometimes run down back towards the cup. Figure that'll be fun. And we've got so much slope to deal with naturally that we just have to get rid of some.
So sand would be last, right?
Sand is last. Well, the very last thing we do is roll it, just so it's the right speed.
Oh, that is
So this is the putting turf, but see, we'll fill it all the way up to there with sand. And it goes right next to this, and this is the fringe turf.
the fringe and the green.
Correct. And then we're gonna put a layer of cushion underneath just the putting surface too. It makes it really perfectly smooth, and then when you're hitting balls from there, it helps it react just like it would on a golf course. But Trace, all we really need, and if you need to use the dingo to do this, I mean, they haven't compacted this, so you're gonna go way down, especially when you roll it. But all you really need is pitch, right? From there to here. So when this water comes down, it can't creep up. So don't overdo it is all I'm saying, because anything you go higher here, you just gotta come higher there. So what they're going to do is they're going to get everything fine-tuned. So once they're done rolling it, they're gonna take the measurements, and if the measurements are good and we don't need any more gravel, then they'll go get screenings and put it all on top of it, and then roll it so everything looks really, really smooth and it doesn't look rocky. It'll look more like concrete. And then we put the padding down and the turf on that.
All right, so the next step in this right here is grade 8 with fines. It's the rock with the little itty bitty fines in there, like small pieces of rock. It's almost like sand, but it's not, it's bigger. But that's what allows it to be compactable. The next step is gonna be you can actually buy grade 8 wood fines, but then you can also just buy the fines. This right here is the fines. That is going to be the next step. This right here is going to go on top of this, brush it out and make it nice and smooth, and then compact it again. Now this is basically almost level on this side with the ground. We're down a little bit here below the grass, and then we come up. This is going to be the fringe. We got about 2 to 3 foot of fringe and then the green. The other side, since we're on a slope, had to come up almost a foot. Let's go over here and take a look. Now this side is up that high. We're trying to get the edges smoothed out. Where it goes up right there and then flat, trying to make it nice and smooth all the way around. First layer of fines has been put down, and then we're going to put the second layer of fines down and do this all over again. Try to make it look like glass.
Glass?
Well, real smooth. Try to make it real smooth. Alright, so the fines are put down. I didn't get a chance to get a video of them putting it down. They just made a nice layer, compacted it, did it a couple times, and then compacted it again. Now what they're doing is they're taking the level, finding out all the low or high spots, and filling them with fines, and then they're going to compact it again. They spend an incredible amount of time doing what you're looking at right here, just constantly going over it, putting the level down, marking where the high or the low spots are, and then compacting it, then doing it again, and compacting it, and then doing it again. So this is that patience These guys have a lot of patience. You got it over there? All right, so on the low spots, obviously they just add fines in order to raise it. But on the high spots, they take their shovel, move the rocks around. That way they can lower down that area. What degree you guys trying to keep it at?
For this bottom part here, where it's all downhill, 1.5%, so that way the ball doesn't just rolling right off the green.
Oh, okay. So it kind of flattens out?
Yeah.
And then what's the rest of it at?
I believe over here it's about 5%.
So 5% there?
Yeah, and then 4%, 3%. And then all of this is 2%, and then about 1.5%.
Okay.
How come we need to water it?
It helps compact it. And it'll get it nice and smooth with the water. Water always helps.
Carry the hose for Sean so he can just walk out there.
They'll wet it and then they'll roll it. Yeah.
And these don't move. Some others sell. We also flattened out the top of that because I figured you want the whole top of it mostly flat for you to hit balls off of.
Yeah.
I don't know what he discussed with you, but flattened out the whole top of it and I gave it like a the feel of a green. You get a little slope going up to it, and then you got a nice flat area
Okay.
to hit balls off of.
Yeah, I wanted it bigger because then I can get both kids hitting at the same time.
Yeah, if you want this a little bit bigger, we can just extend this out a tiny bit.
So is that raised for a reason?
Oh, we're gonna get the hand tamp and pound it in there.
Right.
Just really locks it in the ground then.
Oh, you knocked the whole thing in there?
Yeah. So the little bit that is sticking up, it'll get pounded all the way back down.
That's how we ensure they don't move.
Ah.
If we don't pound them down enough, they
Uh-huh.
can come up or whatever. Just consider.
All right, so we're getting really close now. Right now they're putting on the foam padding that goes right underneath the green. All right, because of the size of the green, they have to put two pieces of foam together, and they're using some high-grade duct tape in order to join them together. So all the foam is down. They painted the shape of the green
Which line is it out here?
onto the foam, and now he's cutting out the foam to the shape of the green.
I would probably follow this one.
Inner one?
Yeah. You can go all the way out to here though. Just make it nice and smooth.
Huh?
Putting the green down.
Put your tape in there with our.
All right, so where the two greens meet, where they have to join them together, what they're going to be doing is, or what he's doing right now, is cutting out the edges, because these greens have a little flap at the end, and where they join them, you can't have the flap, so he's cutting those out right now.
Too far. Too far? I need more.
All right, so now what they're doing is going around and basically making sure that every fiber is connected properly, so when they finish, you can't see the seam. Okay, so now they separate them by folding them back on both sides, and then they're ready for glue. All right, so they have this plastic or vinyl clear sheet that they laid in between the two greens. He's pouring glue on top of that, and then they're gonna fold the two greens together to seal them.
Lay it on top.
Yep.
All right, so now he's gonna go through and just make sure the joint is perfect. And he spent a long time on this, just going through every fiber and making sure everything was good. Okay, so now the fringe is all cut up, and what they did is they cut them up into about 30 or 45 degree pieces. Now, there are a whole bunch of pieces just because they want all the fringe fibers facing the same way all the way around. All right, so all of the fringe pieces get glued side by side, and they're joined together at the top to the green. And that's what these guys are doing right now.
Got that side?
All right, so now they're brushing in the sand. I think they said it's silica sand. They used around, I think, 1,500 pounds or 2,000 pounds of sand. They added sand, brushed it in, and then added sand again, brushed it in. And then after this, they have to add the green sand on top of that, which is probably at about another 1,000 pounds. So I think we got around 3,000 pounds of sand into this small grain. All right, so the guy in the yellow vest, he's actually brushing out the fringe right now, trying to stand up the fibers, because they are going to add a little bit of white sand to them to try to keep them sticking up. All right, so what he's doing there is making sure with that hand tool that all the fibers in the green are standing up. I guess he saw some that were laying down, so he's trying to make sure everything's up in the air. All right, so we're finally adding the green sand. It's a little bit coarser than the white sand. The white sand is really, really fine. The green sand is not. Instead of using the machine to get the green sand in, they're actually brooming it in. All right, so now they're adding white sand to the fringe to help keep the fibers all standing straight up, well, as much as possible. All right, so now they're just trying to get any excess sand from the top out of there, so they're just brushing it and blowing it.
Or just keep it off the grain is really all. Yeah.
Now, before they roll it for the last time, they want to wet it real good.
So right now I'm building your custom tee box. And Chris is going to spike in the outside edge of the fringe. The green is pretty much ready to go. We're going to wet it a little bit more and then roll it. And then we have to put the cups in. And we put the flags in. Then we're using it.
All right.
Sound good?
Mhm.
All right.
What about this nail?
So I put that nail so the piece of turf couldn't move while I cut this. I'm going to throw a bunch of spikes in here, then I'm going to take those out and I'm going to mark that side. So that's why I left it up high, so I could just easily find it. Oh yeah. A little remix? Yeah. So we put a bunch of sand in it and then we wet it to try and get
What about all
everything
these
nice
holes?
and heavy.
What about all these holes that
This
that
is just
you're
my
making?
golf shoes.
Yeah, I got golf shoes too.
What'll happen is when this all dries out, you won't see it.
Alright.
And then once it rains a few times, you won't see the sand like so patchy. It'll start working into the turf. You'll see more of the fibers. I
Alright.
told your dad what we'll do in about 5 to 6 weeks is we'll come back. Yummy. We'll come back and we'll put some more sand down and then we'll roll it again, and then you'll be good for the rest of the year.
Again.
Oh, it's looking good. Oh, that looked real good. And again, it was Tora Green, Chicago that built this. All right, so this is Johnny's Tips and Tricks. And if this helped you out, hit the like button. That helps me out, and I hope this helps.